So we're going to move on to our next step in our 5-step evaluation model, which is PLAN.
Right, so we're moving on to step 2, which is planning the evaluation. And remember, we said that step 2 was starting to think about developing good evaluation questions, and just sort of reiterating Candice's point about evaluation being at the very beginning. I know it can be a little bit intimidating at times, but that also helps about how you're going to measure and then keep track of the changes and be able to provide good information over time that you can get a jump on instead of having to react to, and you can be a little bit more proactive. But the second piece is developing a good evaluation question. What is a good evaluation question? And sort of moving from the logic model. The logic model sets you up for the evaluation questions that you want to use. So sort of going back to our beginning, formative questions are those that are asked while the program is operating. You might hear those, might hear people talk about those in terms of process questions. And they're usually about program improvement or mid-course correction. An example that we have here is, what's the teacher's experience of the PLD? So it's a little bit more at the beginning or in the middle of things and not so much as an end goal. And it helps people to make adjustments if things aren't going well, or if things are going well, how do you actually increase what's going well? Then there's summative questions, which are asked at the end of a program or at the end of a strategy or an initiative, and it's focused on results and outcomes. The example we have here is, did the PLD lead to changes in teachers' instructions? So now you're looking at, hey, was there a real change over time after having participated in this program or this PLD? So going back to our case study with the STEM partnership, what are some possible formative evaluation questions, and what are some possible summative evaluation questions that could be used? Remember, they're trying to actually make some changes here, but they also want to know outcomes in terms of access, but they also want to be able to know how's the process going. So maybe folks can do a little bit in the chat and think about some of the formative evaluation questions and some possible summative evaluation questions. And I'm thinking that I know that Martha and Candice and a few other folks are talking about that always want to know about how some of the workshops are going and timing of workshops. Those are some good formative questions, as well as summative questions. I'd like to know, so what are the outcomes that we expect after the first session? Can be a sort of a formative question, and then finally, what can you expect over the long term? So Candice actually says, how many teachers can complete training and how many apply use techniques? And then summative, and that's what was her formative question, and then summative were student impact, academic, and then also for, I think Martha talked about, excuse me, that wasn't Candice, excuse me, Martha, that was you, who was thinking about how many teachers complete training and how many apply use techniques. Summative, student impacts, academic. That's great. Linda, you're thinking formative, what is working versus what is not working. Great. Stephanie, formative, do participants believe the PD is relevant? Do participants believe that PD will be valuable to the job? Great. Thanks so much for those. And I see multiple folks are still typing as well. Gail, thank you for the formative, what's the level of engagement in PD sessions? Nancy, number of teachers providing appropriate academic accommodations in lab settings. So appreciate those definitely, and I think that that's really helpful. And it's helpful to be specific. I think Candice actually is typing in there and saying it's helpful to be specific about what is working and what's not working. And if you're interested in the teacher's learning and the community engagement, And then Stephanie with a summative, did the PD participant change practice as a result of the PD? Great question as well. And then Anita, another formative question, are students participating? And then a summative question, do students' aspirations change? Great question. Thank you so much.